Hello friends, this is Jerry George and welcome to my channel IWJ or Invest with Jerry. Today we will talk about is the stock market crashing, what's happened to stock market over the past few days. Before that, I want to just add one thing. I'm not a financial advisor, so please do your own research before putting your hard-earned money into all stocks and stock market. Also, I am a long-term investor, so my investment strategy is to keep holding on to the stocks which I believe in. The time frame which I am planning to hold is anywhere from 6 months to 2 years, and only if the stock reaches my price points, then I will plan to sell it in the short term. Okay, friends, let's talk about some of the bull cases and bear cases in the current market. So let's speak about the bear case and bull case in today's market. So as you can see, Americans are having pretty much the highest savings rate anywhere across history. So that's a really good thing. We can see improving vaccination rates. So alongside with Moderna and Pfizer, now that the Johnson & Johnson vaccine has been approved by FDA, you can see the vaccination rates will be increasing. There is lots of pent-up demand for travel, tourism, going to restaurants, outdoor, indoor activities, and a lot of things. So that is a really good thing. People are waiting to go out and spend money, shop, and a lot of things. So that's a good thing for the economy. Again, we know that more stimulus is on the way. Big infrastructure bill has been promised by Biden. So that's coming, and that will also improve the job market. There's a great housing market and financial sector. So unlike the previous financial crisis, this time the housing market is really good as well as the financial sector. So banks are in real good shape. They do have a lot of liquidity and cash on hand. So that is a real good thing for the economy. Again, low interest rates and extremely supportive Fed policies. We know that the Fed chairman Jerome Powell has come to national media multiple times, and he has announced that they won't be increasing the rates until to the near future. Again, analysts also sees that around $6 trillion are waiting on the sidelines to be invested. So there are like a lot of big money waiting on the sidelines to be invested. So that is, all these things are real good cases for a bull market. We should also discuss about the bear market cases. So much of money in the economy is also a problem. So study shows that 1/5 of all the US dollars created in the US history is through the stimulus bills or stimulus checks that came after the pandemic, which means out of $20 out of every $100 you see in the economy today is actually created by the stimulus checks. So that is a lot of money being printed by the Fed. Again, anticipatory inflation is on the rise. So anticipatory inflation is something when people think inflation is on the sidelines and it's coming soon. So you can see the material prices are increasing, copper prices are increasing, lumber prices are increasing. So all these things are signals that people are anticipating an inflation. This is a problem. Again, some other small problems are like big tech companies getting a lot of regulatory attention. As you can see, big companies like Amazon, Google, Facebook, all those are facing some regulatory concerns. Government is trying to break them down into small companies because they're starting to have a lot of power. Again, there are issues with foreign countries. So this is also something which has been always on the sidelines. So mainly, what's my take? So my take is this is more of a bull market, but I am very cautious on this market because with inflation rising or anticipatory inflation on the rise, this will affect more growth stocks. So what are growth stocks? The growth stocks are the stocks which have been high flying all these past few months, like the Rokus, like the Teledocs, like the Zooms, like the Shopify's, the Trade Desk, and all those things. So those companies which are supposed to grow faster than the normal US stocks, all those stocks are supposed to get hit because they are risky also. So many investors will think instead of putting cash into the riskier sector, they can put their money into the 10-year treasury yield. So I would also like to take you to this chart. This is a 10-year treasury yield chart. So you can see before Corona, which this is like last 2020 February, during Corona it crashed down to 0.49, and then it was trying to climb up all this time, and finally you can see in the last few weeks it's been climbing up pretty heavy, and it hit 1.51, which is pretty high compared to what we were seeing in the past year. So this is one of the reasons, and you can see the date, it's 2/24. That's when the first kind of correction happened on last week, and again you can see it's again coming up a little bit. So it's at 1.47, and that is one of the reasons why the market is kind of correcting itself now. So when I'm doing research on stocks, I would be showing you two things. One is like the fundamental analysis and one is the technical analysis. It will look a bit confusing in the start, but I think as we move forward, you would understand most of the things. So the first stock I'm picking up today is Palantir, which is under the growth category. So growth stocks are the fast movers. They are the ones which are supposed to increase the revenue or sales very much faster than the average market. So Palantir is my first stock. So let's see what Palantir does. So I call this sheet the dirty data sheet. So the dirty data sheet has so much of data in it, but so I have collected this data from different data points and websites. Please bear with me. It looks all messed up, but I think as we move forward, you would like it. Okay, so let's see what Palantir does. So Palantir Technologies, they built platforms for the intelligence community in United States to assist counter-terrorism investigations and operations. So that's a really powerful sentence. It offers Palantir Gautam, a software platform for government operatives in defense and intelligence sectors. So basically, this industry or this company is actually linked a lot with the US government. So that is a really good platform to be in for any company. There are a lot of secret projects. So and we can see there are a lot of new partnerships they are building up with other companies also. That is really good sign for any company. So let's see a bit in depth what exactly Palantir is and what is the news related to Palantir. So Yahoo Finance is one of the platforms which I use to do my fundamental analysis. So it's a real good site and it's pretty easy to work with. So you can see Palantir Technologies PLTR today's price is $24.84. The market cap is pretty important to know. It's $43 billion. So it's considered to be like, I believe it's medium cap company. So you can see in 1 year target estimate for Yahoo Finance analyst is 25.83. So the stock is already under that. So that's one good thing. It might not be the right thing to look at, but it's a good indicator. Okay, so for doing the fundamental research of any company, it's important that you know about the company, and the best way to know about a company in depth is going to their investor presentation sites, investor presentations, the 10K reports, 8K reports, and many things are there. Today I'll just show you how to check all these things. So I have gone to the Palantir website and gone to their investor page, and I have just clicked the news and recent news. So this is one important place to look at for companies. What are the new partnerships? Which companies are they collaborating with? So it's good to see all this information. So you can see Palantir and 3M. M has expanded relationship to build dynamic supply chain. So this is one good partnership. Again, you can see some other companies, Akin Gum, collaborate on legal digital service platform. Again, something related to legal. Then these are some information related to the revenue growth for the last quarter of earnings. Again, you can see IBM and Palantir have a partnership now, and a lot of things. So again, you can see Palantir Technologies and Rio Tinto sign multi-year enterprise partnership. So all these things looks really positive for the stock. Again, I wanted to show you something else. So this is something which I found out from their latest, you can see 10K report. So you can see new contracts in Q4 2020 include Rio Tinto, Procter & Gamble, BP, US Army, US Air Force, FDA, and NHS. So this is the most important part for me. So usually US Army and US Air Force and all those sectors, when they collaborate with the company, they don't usually get out of that. So it's good news for Palantir, and you can see there are a lot of companies getting partnerships with Palantir. So fundamentally, I believe the company is in good shape and in a good growth trajectory. So now I would like to show you another website. This is not a free website though; it's a paid website. So you can see this is another good website which you can do a quick check on the fundamentals of a company. So again, it shows what the company is all about here. Then you can go to the valuation. So it says it's a little bit undervalued. So we have seen the analysts from Yahoo as well as analysts from Simply Wall Street says it's a bit undervalued. So it's good to know. Then the future growth. So you can see it's 24% of future growth expected for the company, which means when the software industry is growing at 13.4, the company is almost doubling the rate at which it is growing. Again, earnings is like the net income the company generates. So you can see the past performance. It's important to know if the company is profitable. So again, it says Palantir is currently unprofitable. So this is very common for growth stocks which are in the early stages of their growth. So this basically means that the company is not generating extra income out of all its operations. The expenditure is right now it's more for the company than what it is earning. So you can see expenditure as a lot of things. There will be research and development activities. There will be a lot of marketing, advertisements, and all those things. This will be like generic across for growth stocks in their initial phases. So this is nothing to worry about. But it will be good to see how the financial health of the company is. So you can see there are a lot of assets in the short term, which can easily cover all the liabilities. In the long term also, there is like enough assets. You can say it's a bit higher on the higher end, the liabilities, but you can see a combined short term and long term, you can see it's pretty much covering all liabilities. So that's a real strong balance sheet. So you can see all greens here. This is again another picturization of balance sheet. It looks good. Then you can go to dividend, nothing for growth companies usually. Then again, ownership. So ownership is something to take a look at. So what this says is like the company executives, the CEOs, the COOs, are they trusting the company to return good values for their money? So that means the company executives are putting a lot of money into the company and they trust the company to grow in the future. So higher the ownership of individual investors, that's a good sign for us. So you can see it shows like some kind of selling has happened on last 0 to like 3 to 6 months. So you can see there have been some insiders selling. So this is not a very good sign, but then again, to see the whole picture, we have to see how much individual investors have been investing into the company. So you can see out of all outstanding shares, 10% is held by individual investors. So this is usually good actually. For big companies, if you see like the Amazon, Apples, and all those big companies, it will be in like less than 1% of individual investors interested in the company. So this is really good. So overall, the company looks good. So coming back, again, I said we'll be looking at the fundamental analysis as well as technical analysis. So we already saw the fundamental analysis. So coming to the technical analysis, so this is a chart. It looks messy again. So this will be like when you are starting to look at the fundamental analysis, it looks really messy, but this will be a really good thing to check on the way up. To explain you about the fundamental analysis, I have taken an easier example. So I have taken a chart of Apple. So you can see this is Apple stock, and I have taken the chart for 1 year. So I have 3 trend lines. So trend lines are like moving average lines. So this is like a 20-day moving average line. This is the green is like the 50-day moving average line, and yellow is a 100-day moving average line. So why this is important is, so if I am a big company with having a lot of cash on hand, so I want to invest in Apple. So I have a really bull case on Apple and I want to invest in Apple. I don't just go and buy at this point or at this point or at this point. Instead I would wait it to come down and it hit one of these moving averages. So usually what happens with the big companies is like, or good companies is like they'll come down to their moving averages and then they start to bounce off. So big companies consider this as a good indicator for them to put their money into the stock. So you can see the volume at this point is pretty high. We can see once it crosses here, the volume is pretty high. So this is like a reversal. This is called a trend reversal. So when it comes and hits the 20-day moving average, goes down a bit, tries to come up, goes down a bit, and then it moves up. And from here onwards, you can see huge buying volume. So this is not retail investors like us. This is like companies. So it's good to invest alongside with big companies. So that will push the stock upwards. So you can see it went up till here and then again it broke the 20-day moving average. So you can see one thing. So if it breaks the 20-day moving average, the next moving average it will break is 50-day. So it broke the 50, it tried hard to come back, and it came back for a brief period. Again it came back. Now that it has moved from this point to this point, that's a pretty big move. Now it needs some time to breathe out. So stock market is not always going in a straight line. It always comes down a bit. But there's no need to panic because good stocks will always go up. So you can see it came back, it broke both the averages. This time it's more, investors are more bearish on this one. So it went down even further, but again it came close to the 100-day moving average and it went up. So you would ask me why I'm showing you all this, because you can see either you can buy Apple at this point, which is a good entry point, you could get this much of gain, or you can try it out when it's coming down. And always it's a good thing to see if it breaks one of these moving average. It's good time to buy only if it comes up above the moving average. Also, it's a good. It will be a very bullish sentiment if all the three moving averages are like this, like moving up. You can see all three were moving up. Here it is crossing over. Here it is crossing over, and you can see right now it's coming down. So it's a little bit bearish setup. But these are just technical indicators. So if you are a long-term investor in Apple and you are saying I want to invest in Apple for like 5 years, so 139 is also not a bad price to start with, because Apple 5 years down the line, Apple is not going to be at 139. For sure, it's going to be above 200. So you can easily invest on this. So this is my example for your technical analysis. This is an easier chart to explain. So I'll just go through the technical analysis for Palantir now. So Palantir stock is a recent IPO. So it's not been long since Palantir has come to the US stock market. So the data with that is less. Again, you can see this is another way to look at the trend lines. So I have a 50-day moving average and a 20-day moving average. 20 is on the black and 50 is on the purple line. So you can see right now Palantir has broken down. So since it's a growth stock and unlike Apple, it's not that stable. You can see growth stocks will be very volatile. So one thing you can see is like it broke down all these trend lines. So it's not over extended. So that's one good thing. So again, you can see the MACD crossover. So forget about all these things. I just want to show you about money flow index. I also wanted to bring your attention to another indicator. You can forget about all this MACD. It's confusing for now. So money flow index and relative strength index are same things. So basically it says just you need to understand if it is under 30, it means the stock is oversold, and above 70, it means it is overbought. So when it is oversold, that means there is not much chances that it can go much further than this. Always the chances are that it's going to go up. So oversold means like more shares are sold. So people have to buy back the shares. So the chances are this is pretty much bottom for most of the times. So you can see most of the times when it came down and then it started moving up. It came down and hit. Now it's trying to come down again. It has to go up because it's on oversold territory. So eventually it will come up. So just these two things, the trend lines and RSI index for now. So now let's go back to Palantir. So as I said, I call this sheet as the dirty data sheet. It will be messed up for now, but just we can have a side-by-side comparison for all the growth stocks, which is really good. So just for now, I'll show you what this sheet shows, what this sheet is all about. So just for now, I'll show you what this sheet is all about. So we took Palantir. So let's mark it as yellow. So Palantir stock is from the IT sector. Its price today is 24.9. The market cap is 46 billion. The return, the revenue growth for next 3 years is 24. So 24 is really good. So you can see the market average is 11, and IT sector is 14. So 24 percentage of revenue growth for next 3 years is really good. Earnings growth is also considered to be pretty high. This is like the net profit of the company. So this is also good. You can see the asset to debt. So the debt is not that much, so it can cover all the debt. It has enough assets to cover all the debt. So that's in. So G is for good. GG is double good. So it's really good. Valuation on two sides we have seen is just undervalued. So we can see that the insiders have around 10% stake on the company, which is good. Profit percentage is not there. So it's not profitable yet. So that is one concern. Again, the price to trailing 12 months sales. So you do not have to look at this right now. So this is again another metrics. So just understand that this is one metrics which people look at to see if the company is overvalued, undervalued, or fairly valued. So the lower this value, that will be the best. So for growth companies, it is always pretty high value. But usually if it's under 5, it's really good. When it comes to double digits, it's considered to be a little bit overvalued. But that is common for growth stocks. Again, there's another thing called IPO lockup expiration. So that is like whenever an IPO is listed to a US stock exchange, after 6 months, the IPO will the stock will allow its stockholders to sell their shares if they need to. So as we saw, the insider ownership and all those things, all those folks who are holding on to the stock are not allowed to sell their stocks in the first 6 months. So probably at this date you will see a selling pressure and the stock price can go down. So there's a possibility of it going down, and maybe you can buy some more shares if you're interested in this stock. Again, technical analysis, we saw it's oversold, so that's a good thing for us, and it's also close to the 100 daily moving average. So the chances of a bounce back is there. So the chances of it bouncing back are high. Again, some of the bear thesis is like there's like lot of insider selling, so medium insider selling in the last 3 months. So that is one thing, and it's also too much dependent on the government projects. So that is one strength as well as one weakness for the company. Again, it's a growth stock, so with inflation going up, the growth stocks are going to get hit hard. So understand this. This price can come down pretty hard on Palantir, but again, as I said, my investment strategy is for at least 6 months to 2 years. So, and what is my price point? So my price target for this stock is at least $40 by 2022. So yeah, so that's all with Palantir stock. So now let's go to the next stock, which is Tattooed Chef. So from now onwards, I would try to show you most of the information from here in this sheet, because I have already taken it from the other one. I'll just run these numbers from the other sites as well. So Tattooed Chef, what Tattooed Chef is doing is like, it's more like packaged food industry, and it's more plant-based food industry. So as you know, plant-based food industry has been getting a lot of hype in the last year or so. So you can see what it does actually. The plant-based food company produces and sells a portfolio of frozen foods. It supplies plant-based products to retailers in the United States. So again, you know, there is another company called Beyond Meat, which creates plant-based food, and you can see it has a market cap of around 9 billion. So from the analysis which I did, I understand that Tattooed Chef is a really good brand. It has a really good brand value, and the chances of it to come to at least 1/4 of the Beyond Value price is reasonable. So 1/4 of Beyond Value market cap is reasonable. So and this company is already making profit. So as you see, with Palantir we saw that it's not profitable yet, but you can see being such a small company and a relatively new company, it's already making profit. So that's a really good sign for all the investors. So let's go to Tattooed Chef site. So let's go to Tattooed Chef site and see some other information. So this is an investor presentation by the Tattooed Chef. I have gone through some of that information and it looks pretty good. So one thing I wanted to show you is like how much the company is growing. So you can see these are all the different things Tattooed Chef offers. So these are plant-based options across multiple doors in the frozen department: single serve bowls, smoothie bowls, vegetable blends, meat alternative, plant-powered pizzas. So these are all pretty good, and these are innovative products. But this is the most important part which I like, because you can see in 2017 it had only 2 products, and 2018 it came this many products. It's close to 8 to 10. 2019 it doubled, and 20 it's keep on adding products. So it has 38 products or store keeping units, which means a company, if it's generating this many number of products, it means it has a good demand. And now in 2021 it's planning to have 62 products. So that is really good. And it's good to see the company has pretty good relationship with big retailers. You can see Costco, Walmart, Sam's Club, and I've seen Target partnership as well. Again, all these companies have partnerships with Tattooed Chef. You can see in the last 6 days we introduced Tattooed Chef to the following national retailers. You can see 7-Eleven's, Mayer, Kroger, Publix. So it's and Target, and it's pretty good. It's pretty good. So it's very important to see improving and increasing partnership. So these are all good things. And again, you can see like branded points of distribution, so many Walmarts, Costco's, Targets, and all those things. You can see the Costco's, Sam's Clubs, Targets, and all. They will only approve pretty decent quality products. They cannot just take cheap products. So this is also a validation for the fact that Tattooed Chef products are really good in quality. So that's all for Tattooed Chef. Their recent earnings showed that it had a real good jump of profits. Okay, so let's go to some of the fundamentals of Tattooed Chef. So you can see it's a 1.4 market cap. So it's a small company. It says the valuation is undervalued. So that is really good for investors. So it says this site says its fair value is at least 27.83. It's currently at $20. Future growth, you see, this is very high future growth, 36% of future growth. They have not put enough. They do not have enough information for earnings, so that is okay. But we can see the future growth for the company is 36%, and this is for the next 2 to 3 years, not just for the next year. It's for the 2 to 3 years. So all these graphs are for 2 to 3 years. Again, past performance, you can see it has a profit margin of 2, so it was making money. It was generating profit after all the expenses, which is really good to see. Again, financial health, you can see, let's see. So the short-term assets are a bit lesser than the short-term liabilities, but the long-term assets are higher than the long-term liabilities. And on overall picture, it looks decent. So this is okay. So and they are already making money, so that's a good thing. So this is okay. There will not be any dividend for these growth stocks. And coming back to ownership, you do not see any insider selling in the last 12 months. So that is really good. Again, if you see, individual insiders are holding almost 50% of the entire stocks. So this is really good. I am really impressed by the individual insiders for this company. So now let's go to the dirty data sheet. Again, I will call it as a DD sheet. So the Tattooed Chef, if you see, the price today is 20. It has come down even from this. I believe it's in 20.21 or something. Market cap is 1.4. We saw. You can see the revenue growth is 36. Asset to debt, it's pretty decent, so I called fair. Valuation, it's mentioned it's undervalued. Percentage is 48, which means it's a really good thing for a small company like Tattooed Chef. IPO lockup expiration, we do not have to get concerned about that because that is over. Price to TTM or trailing 12 months sales. We saw that Palantir had 21, it's 10 at 10, so it's decent for a growth stock. Again, the technicals I have already checked. It's oversold and it's close to the 200-day moving average. So let's just go to that quickly. Again, you can see. So you can see here, it's coming down and hitting the 200-day moving average. So it's in the past, let's say in the past 1 year, it had only clicked the 200-day moving average once, that too briefly, and it went back up. So there's all possibilities that this is a good point to start investing if you are bullish on this particular company. Again, the money flow index or RSI index is again below 30, which is oversold, and it cannot stay at this level because there is not enough shares to be bought by investors any further. Okay, so that's my bull case for Tattooed Chef. Now let's come to Jumia. This is a very interesting play. So this is in the internet retail. Jumia is known as the African Amazon. So it's again in the industry, internet retail. Coming to what Jumia does. So the company's platform consists of marketplace which connects sellers with consumers, which exactly the Amazon does. Then logistics service that enables shipment. So this is also good. So they do have an Amazon like website plus the shipment and delivery, and again they do have a payment service. So this is really good. Also Africa is considered to be having a set of nations which is considered to be poor, but there are like really good stable economies in Africa, and Jumia is actually a good player in those kind of economies. It's not only in the smaller economies, it's a good player in the stable economies in Africa. So I have gone through Jumia's fundamentals, so let's go through that together very quick. Again, you can see all this information in the free Yahoo website that is also advisable. So if you go to Jumia Technologies in Yahoo, you can see the market cap. You can see 1 year target estimate. Again, you can see Jumia is not a very optimistic stock for the Yahoo analyst. And you can see statistics. I have shown you some of the statistics earlier. So one was like price to sales ratio. So it's 23.26, pretty high. It's comparable to Palantir stock. It also gives some information about revenues, quarterly revenue generated, and all those things. But I would say if you see in this site, it's more organized. So I kind of prefer this site. Again, coming back to executive summary, we already seen the valuation. So it says undervalued. So Yahoo Finance analyst says it's overvalued, and you can see Simply Wall Street says it's undervalued. So this kind of divergence we used to see. So it's up to us to see if it's undervalued or overvalued. If you understand the underlying business, that's a good starting point for us. So Africa being such a tough nation, tough set of nations, there is a lot of economies and a lot of regulation. So being a market leader in that economy has a real good advantage, according to my perspective. So this is a valuation, it shows undervalued. Let's go to the future growth. So it says 38% revenue growth annually for next 2 to 3 years, as well as 30% increase in net income or like earnings for next 2 to 3 years. So this is really strong stats for me. And going to past performance, it's not profitable. Again, the expenditures are more for this company right now, and that is again because of marketing, advertisement, which they will be spending a lot of money when the company is in their initial starting growth phase. Coming to financial health, assets are really good, liabilities are low. Again, long-term assets are also higher than long-term liabilities. So it's considered to be having no debt because it has enough cash in hand to cover all these things. So dividend is not there. Ownership page, you do not have much information for Jumia. Actually, I was checking this earlier. So I do not see much of individual investors in this stock. That might be because it's a different market it is trading. So how the individual investors will be listed, or like how the individual investors will be putting money into Jumia, I do not know. So I would ignore this ownership portion for this particular stock. So I come back to my dirty data sheet. So again, we have covered Jumia now. So Jumia price is like $46 today. Market cap is 4 billion. It's also a small company right now. We can see revenue growths are pretty good. I said there is no debt, so that is really good. Valuation is considered to be undervalued from my perspective also. There is no insider information, so that is okay. Profit, it's not profitable yet. Price to trailing 12 month sales is 10. So that is kind of decent for a growth company. IPO lockup expiration is over. Again, technical analysis, if you see Jumia, again, E-Trade Financial is a real good trading platform. I've been using it for a couple of years. I do have accounts with E-Trade, Robinhood, Charles Schwab, Webull, and Stash. I see for technical analysis, E-Trade looks to be the best, and we would also get this technical analysis from other sites also, but I like E-Trade for technical analysis. So let's see Jumia, what happens with Jumia. So you can see Jumia is above the 50-day moving average, 100-day moving average. This is the green line. And in the future, in the past, you can see it barely touched down the 100-day moving average once in middle of September, and then it bounced back after that. So you can see all over the place it was going up above the 100, and it's now coming close to the 100. So if I'm an institutional investor having a big cash on hand, I might take a position here, and then if it comes down, I might average it down again. And once it starts moving up and reverses the trend, that is when I am like really bullish on the stock. Yeah, so this is the technical analysis for Jumia. Again, we should also look at the bear cases. So Africa being a foreign set of foreign nations, if there are like any kind of regulatory changes with foreign nations for US, so that will adversely affect Jumia and the stock market stock performance in US. So that is something which we need to keep in mind. But regardless, Jumia is a real high growth play. But all these growth plays, one thing you need to understand is like there are chances that these prices which you see here, it's like 46 today, it can go down to 30 also. So that kind of volatility will be possible for all these growth stocks. They are highly volatile stocks and they do swing from up to down. So just be ready for all those things if you're planning to invest in the growth stocks. Also, if you're planning to invest, do not invest all the money today. So if you have $1,000, you probably should invest $100 into one stock at a time, and then average it down if it comes down. And if it goes up, just be happy that you have already invested some portion, and you can either take the profit out or hold on to it. All right.